What's up, everybody? Kyle here at Let's Talk Wax, and today we're going to be taking a look at my updated top 10 for 2022 Bowman Draft. Now, I do these update videos for all releases back to 2019, so if you enjoy this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got a top 10, and I've got several honorable mentions and MLB grads as well, with some pitchers in the mix. So stay tuned, and we're going to jump into it. Kicking this list off at number 10 is Dominic Keegan with the Tampa Bay Rays. He is predominantly a catcher that does DH at certain times. He's 23.9, so he just barely reaches under the 24-year-old cutoff for my content. And I'm very not very excited to see Dominic Keegan leave us because he's had such a stellar minor league career and has yet to have a chance at the major league level. He 218 plate appearances in AA this season. He's hitting .287 with a 155 ISO and 5 home runs. Now, career-wise, Dominic Keegan has hit .290 with a career 175 ISO and a 21% K rate. He's got a very good bat. It's a consistent hit power tool since being drafted. He has very solid tools behind the plate, and I think he's one of the most undervalued players along with Chandler Simpson in this release. So hopefully we do get to see Dominic Keegan reach the major leagues in some sort of facet, whether it's DH, catcher, or a spot start, or someone who gets injured, but I'd definitely like to see what he's capable of at the major league level. At number 9, we've got Drew Gilbert, who's been on the injured list since April 7th with a hamstring injury. He had an amazing 2023 season. He hit .289 with 18 home runs and 26 stolen bases. A big year that kind of propelled him up my list, and it definitely had an impact on where he ranked on this updated top 10 for 24 because he hasn't performed very well in 2024 so far, but it's been over an extremely small sample size in AAA. He's now with the New York Mets. He was traded from Houston. He's an outfielder, 23.7 years old, so another player who's quite old on this list. He's hitting .240 with a 120 ISO prior to the injury with a 35.7 K rate. So a very ugly line there for Drew Gilbert, but like I said, it's only over a 28 plate appearance sample size. Now, career-wise, he's hitting .288 with a 196 ISO and a sub 20K percentage in the minor leagues. He's number 41 in MLB.com's rankings. He does not qualify for the Juggernaut ranking system because he does not have enough plate appearances in 2024, and he's a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2.5. Now, if you guys want to find more information on my Juggernaut ranking system, Let's Talk Wax ranking system, you can find that in the video description, and I also have Juggernaut rankings for all minor league players. And it updates every 2 weeks over on my Patreon page, so you can sort them by the ranks by player or by rank. So if you're chasing certain players, you can look them up and see what they rank, and you can also see like the rank from 1 to, I think it's somewhere around like 900 players right now that qualify for the Juggernaut rank system. But more info and stuff on that on Patreon and the video description. Now, if you enjoy my content and you'd like to help support my channel, be sure to check out my Patreon page. I'll put a link to it in the video description. Over there, you can access tons of exclusive content, including Bowman autograph checklist breakdowns for every Bowman release since 2019 that include current and career stats, a brief write-up, and Let's Talk Wax ranks for all prospects on each checklist. I also have Bowman team break guides for all releases since 2020. You can get access to my Juggernaut rankings that rank each minor league player based on specific stats with files sorted by player and by rank, so you can easily find prospects in your collection. I also have a top 150 Bowman Chrome Autos list and a top 150 Bowman Chrome Autos under $50 list that I update 3 times per year. You can also get early access to all my video content and articles. On top of that, we have a private Let's Talk Wax Discord server with nearly 400 members to keep you up to date on all prospecting news and information. If you want to check it out, click the link in my video description. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who already supports me over there as we close in on nearly 1,000 members. That's going to bring us to Jace Young, Detroit Tigers infielder, another 23.7-year-old playing in AAA. 276 plate appearances with a 274 average and 233 ISO. Young has a very good hit tool. He has got 11 home runs so far this year. He does have kind of a fringy K percentage, but he does take a lot of walks as well. So something that you don't see very often there. He's a 263 career batting average, 218 career ISO, and a 23.2 career K percentage, which is a little bit lower than his 26.8 K percentage so far this year in 2024. Now, he's getting the majority of his reps at third base, and he has a big enough bat to profile at either second base or third base. So I definitely would expect to see Jace Young at the major league level at some point in 2024. At number 7 is perhaps one of my favorite players in this release. I definitely think he is the most undervalued player in this entire release. It could be between him and Alex Freeland, but Chandler Simpson can swing the stick, and he is very, very quick. 23.6 years old, between high A and double A. This year, a center fielder is hitting 368 with a .053 ISO and 48 stolen bases. He leads the minor leagues in stolen bases, and I think it's by 10. I think the closest person behind him has around 38. So he is definitely an elite speedster in that facet. He's got an elite hit tool. He's got an 8.2% walk rate and an 8.2% K rate, which is the lowest on this list. Immaculate K numbers, but he doesn't have any power. That's always been the hang up with Chandler Simpson, but the dude can flat out swing and run, and I do think there will be a very good role for him with some major league club in some facet. I'm not sure what the Rays have planned for him in the future, if he may be a trade chip, but he's definitely a guy who could be an impact player on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And I accidentally sold my last Chandler Simpson auto on eBay last night. Before I got to put this video out, I forgot I had it on eBay. I knew I had it in my collection, but I forgot I had all my cards listed on eBay with this random buy it now prices. And he was definitely a guy that I wanted to hold, but it did sell last night, so unfortunately I may have to jump back in and see if I can find a nice Chandler Simpson card, because like I said, I think he's very undervalued. I do have the comp right now at $5, which I sold mine for $17. So the prices of Chandler Simpson cards have definitely jumped in just the last few days. I think a lot of people are starting to see what a special player he could be at the major league level. At number 6, we've got Brooks Lee, a very high floor guy, kind of like Jace Young, 23.3 AAA, hitting 289 with a 106 ISO. He's got 1 home run and no stolen bases over a 41 plate appearance sample size. He spent the majority of 2024 on the injured list, which is why he's only got 41 plate appearances with his back injury. And I do think he's got a very power-dependent ceiling. He did hit 16 home runs in 2023, and I think, like I said, his power output at the AAA level this season is going to kind of determine his ceiling, because I think he's got a very good hit tool, and he could be playing infield somewhere, maybe probably most likely third base at the major league level. Career numbers are really good. He's number 14 on MLB.com's top 100, and he didn't qualify for the Juggernaut yet. He's only got 41 plate appearances, so him and Drew Gilbert are in the same boat. I think you have to have 150 plate appearances to qualify for that at this point in the season. Let's talk wax rank of 2.5, and he is one of the higher priced autos on this list at $100. Now, before we hop into our top 5, I'm going to go through some notable MLB grads out of this release. The most known one is probably Zach Neto, who's had two very good seasons in the major leagues. He's got 9 home runs in 2023 and over 219 plate appearances so far. At the major league level, he's got 7 homers and 8 stolen bases with a 1.8 WAR. So he's one of the top graduates from this list who's currently performing well at the major league level. At number 2, we've got Jordan Beck, who was called up earlier this year. He's struggling a little bit to get things going, which of course happens to a lot of prospects. 23.1. He's got a 190 batting average with a 127 ISO. Now the K rate is a bit high and the walk rate is very low. And that's a sign of the struggles. I know a lot of guys, when they get called up, the K rate increases phenomenally and the walk rate decreases drastically. That is very common. Like I said, it's a huge step from AA and AAA to the major league level, and not a lot of prospects make that jump. They can't bridge the gap, which is why it's so hard to predict long-term holds and guys who will have long careers in the major league level. I'm not saying Jordan Beck won't, but I'm saying right now what I see with his numbers is pretty typical of a guy who's freshly called up to the big leagues, and just kind of trying to figure out the difference of the arm, the different caliber arms that you're going to see at that level, because it is a huge gap to bridge. At number 3, we've got Trey Lipscomb, who was called up earlier as well. He has been optioned back to AAA since on May 17th, where he's got a 247 batting average and a sub 100 ISO with 21.4 K percentage since getting recalled back to AAA. And Victor Scott, number 2, center fielder with the St. Louis Cardinals, also was optioned back to AAA on 4/21. He's currently holding a 178 batting average in AAA with minimal power, but a lot of stolen bases. He's got 17 stolen bases so far. Him and Chandler Simpson are two of the quicker guys in minor league baseball, but Simpson is a lot better on the bases, as you can see by the numbers. Now we're going to jump into some honorable mentions, some guys that didn't quite make the top 10, and you could very well plead some cases in the comments for these guys to be on the top 10. Like I said, this top 10 is based on my subjective opinion. It's not purely stat-based, based off the Juggernaut ranking system. They're just guys that I like out of this release, and I feel like all the guys on this honorable mention list could have a shot at being in the top 10 one day, just not quite good enough. We've got Dalton Rushing with 226 ISO right now and a sub 20 K percentage in Double-A. Dylan Beavers has 7 home runs and 10 stolen bases over 196 plate appearances in Double-A with the Baltimore Orioles. Nacho Alvarez, you can no longer find him as Ignacio. I think he has claimed the title of Nacho on all of the baseball websites. That's the one that I predominantly use. Well, the only one that I really use is Fangraphs, and I'm pretty sure he is Nacho over there and at Baseball Reference as well. 270 batting average with 16 stolen bases and a sub 20 K percentage in Double-A, playing the majority of his defense at shortstop. Sal Stewart, one of my favorite underrated bats in the minor leagues. He's got a 288 batting average with a very close K-to-walk ratio of 1. He walks just about as much as he strikes out. So an advanced approach right there with Sal Stewart. A lot of people are going to call me crazy for not having Termarr Johnson on this list, but he's got some big pull side power, but he's only hitting 205 with a 139 ISO. And I think he's really struggling with stuff soft away. Bobby said he watched him quite a bit. Bobby moderates my Discord server. He's a huge contributor to the Let's Talk Wax community. I try to shout him out whenever I can, and whenever I use his intel and info on the videos, I always try to shout him out. But he did get eyes on Termarr Johnson and said he really struggles using the opposite side of the field. And it kind of shows this year, you know, with him hitting the soft away. He does struggle with, but he does have big pull side juice. He doesn't get beat very much inside. So definitely something to consider with Termarr Johnson, something that he could be developed, you know, seeing the ball a little bit deeper, but it hasn't really shown yet. Like I said, hitting 205 with a 139 ISO. Chase Midrith, this is kind of a sleeper. He doesn't have a lot of power, but he's got a 292 batting average, and he walks more than he strikes out. He's got a 10.9% K rate in Triple-A, so definitely a guy to watch there. Gabriel Rincones is one of my other favorite sleepers out of this release. I've had my eye on him for a while, and he's been a very cheap auto at $5, so both Midrith and Rincones are $5 autos. He's got 4 home runs and 4 stolen bases and only 60 plate appearances, and he's currently hitting 300 in Double-A. Henry Bolte, a huge ceiling player, 8 home runs and 21 stolen bases, but there's some significant swing and miss with him. Very high risk, but a very high ceiling as well. I think he's about 6'4". Jacob Marcy, the 2023 Arizona Fall League MVP, has been struggling since being traded to Miami, and his 2023 performance has propelled him to where he's at right now in 2024, but he's going to have to hit a little bit better this season to regain some traction on my updates. Judd Fabian has 9 home runs, but he's only hitting 222 with a almost 30% K rate in Double-A. Ryan Ritter hit 24 home runs back in 2023, but the power numbers are way down in Double-A so far in 2024. We've got Sterling Thompson, another guy who excelled in 2023, but the power numbers are way down in 2024. Alex Freeland was a $5 auto at the beginning of the season. I really wanted to do a sleeper prospect video on him, but I never got a chance to get the content out, and he is raking right now. He did not do very well in 2023, but he's hitting 304 with 5 homers and 10 stolen bases in Double-A across 118 plate appearances. He did start the season in High A and played very well there too. Nate Furman, probably one of the big surprises out of this list. He did make a #1 spot on one of my hot sheets earlier in the month. He destroyed High A, and he's recently promoted to Double-A, where we don't have a very large sample size yet to see how he's going to pan out that level. He did really struggle in High A last year, but he made a tremendous comeback so far in 2024. You can also see here some notable pitchers. I'm not going to get into a lot of these guys, but I know there are some people out there who chase pitchers. I do think they are a bit too risky for me with the prevalence of Tommy John surgery and shoulder injuries and things of that sort. But some big names on this list are Ben Joyce, Royce, Noah Schultz, Drew Thorpe, and Jacob Misiorowski. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. Like I said, I don't follow pitchers very closely, but I do keep them on my databases. So those are some of the better ones coming out of this release with very high Let's Talk Wax ranks. So let's jump into our top 5. Cole Young's going to kick this one off. Seattle Mariners shortstop / second baseman, 20.9 years old, in Double-A, a very high floor player. A guy that does not seem very risky. I think he's going to have an impact at the major league level, hitting .274 with a 130 ISO. A 15.7 K percentage as a 20-year-old in Double-A is pretty impressive. He's got a career average of 283 with some fringy power. I think that's going to be a big factor of how much he takes off in the hobby, is how much power he develops as he matures. Like I said, he's only 20.9 years old and he's getting his first taste of a full season of Double-A. So he's probably not concerned about power as much as he is concerned about making a lot of quality contact. He's still getting the majority of his reps at shortstop. Elite K numbers, and like I said, he could grow into some more power, and that's going to be the big factor with Cole Young in the hobby. Number 26 on MLB.com's Top 100, number 74 on the Juggernaut, and these next 4 players are all going to be ranked Let's Talk Wax rank of 2. And I do think Cole Young has redemptions out there in this release as well, so if you are checking this out in the next few, if you are way behind on this video and you're watching it in 2026, those redemptions may be expired by that time if you're planning on breezing back through all my old content, you're watching this video 2 years in advance. At number 4, we've got Jet Williams, another guy who's been on the injured list for quite a while. He's expected to return in about 8 weeks. He's only got 50 plate appearances in 2024. He's a shortstop / center fielder, just a very good athlete. Is going to bring some very good defensive upside wherever he plays. 20.6 years old, started the season in Double-A. Had a bad start, kind of like Drew Gilbert. You're going to see these next 2 guys, both Williams and DeLauder, are facing injuries right now and rough starts prior to the injuries. But Jet Williams was very good in 2023. He had 13 home runs and 22 doubles, 45 stolen bases between low A and Double-A last year. So he had a huge year in 2023, and that's what I'm basing this ranking on, was his excellent 2023 season. And like I said, he should be back in several more weeks from the hamstring injury. At number 3, we've got Chase DeLauder. He was also very good in high A and Double-A in 2023. His career's kind of been derailed by injuries. He's a very injury-prone player, which does make me nervous a bit about Chase DeLauder and the longevity of his career and his development. It just seems like to me there are guys out there who are very injury prone. Take Royce Lewis, for example, who spent the majority of his minor league career on the injured list. But it didn't really hurt his development too much. Hopefully DeLauder can get back on track. He's currently on the injured list with a toe. He was not performing very well prior to the injury, but hopefully that can pick up. His career numbers are solid. .319 batting average with a 156 ISO and a 13.6 K rate. Number 20 on MLB.com's Top 100. On the Juggernaut, of course, he is not very high at 445 due to his poor numbers over a small sample size, and he's a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2. His cards are super cheap at $50 right now. I only found it fitting to put Jackson Holliday and Tyler Locklear as 1 and 2 because they've already both made their MLB debut, and with most prospects in this prospecting game, that rarely happens. The majority of these players never make a debut in the major leagues, and if they do, it is very short-lived. So I clearly used the fact that they had already reached the big league level to put them at 1 and 2. Tyler Locklear has been a huge bat since being drafted. He's got a hit power tool. The only problem with Locklear is the defensive upside, which is very insignificant. He is doing okay at the major league level right now. He's hit 2 home runs. He's got a high ISO and 29 plate appearances, but he's got a 41.4% K rate. So hopefully he can tone down the swing and miss and get to some more of that power. His minor league career batting average is .289 with a .219 ISO, so he's very close to being one of those career 300-plus average, 200-plus ISO guys. He's only missed it by 11 points, and they're just special bats. But like I said, not a lot of defensive upside. He's going to be flipping and flopping between first base and DH. He's not a top 100 prospect at MLB.com's rankings. He's 108 on the Juggernaut, and his cards are about $45 right now. At number 1 is clearly the lead candidate in this release. I don't think I'm going to catch any slack here putting Jackson Holliday at number 1. He was called up very early in the 2024 season. He struggled tremendously. He had a sub 100 batting average. It just didn't go very well for Jackson Holliday, but I still believe 100% in this kid and his abilities, his approach, the way he approaches the game. He's got a 270 batting average in AAA with a 196 ISO over 245 plate appearances. He's also only 20.5 years old playing in AAA, and he's got a 22% walk rate and a 22% K rate. So taking as many walks as strikeouts at 20.5 in AAA is very special, regardless of how poor he performed this first stint at the major league level. He's got 7 home runs, 5 stolen bases. Career-wise in the minor leagues, and this kid has been challenged aggressively throughout his career since being drafted in 2022. He did not face any lollipop assignments in low A, being kind of like Lazaro Montes, who's a guy who clearly needs to get out of low A. Jackson Holliday has been pressed very quickly through into the top tiers of minor league baseball, AA, AAA. Hit 307 with a 177 ISO and a 20% K rate. He is obviously MLB.com's number 1 prospect on the Juggernaut. He's number 9. He's the only elite ranking prospect on this list, and his cards have actually dropped significantly since his poor debut. They're down to about $250. But like I said, I definitely believe in Jackson Holliday, and I can't wait to see what he does in his second stint at the major league level. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I do lots of cool stuff over here. I want to give a huge shout out to all my Patreon level 3 sponsors. You guys rock, and y'all have a great day.